This is Steven Winsenberg, and I'm thrilled to have with me Richard Sherman. You recognize his name as one of the Sherman brothers, and you certainly recognize his music because he has written scores of songs that we all sing all the time. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, the Winnie the Pooh song. If you go down to Disney World, you'll hear the Tiki Tiki song, or It's a Small World. And, of course, he won the Oscar for Chim Chimaree from the Mary Poppins musical, and that, of course, opened on Broadway, and they're having huge success with this. What intrigued me is that they have tweaked some of your songs.
Yes, they have, actually, because it was a British production, truly, and they had to change a lot of our story to work for the stage, and so a couple of brilliant young songwriters came in and added new material, and adapted our songs into the new situations. And they did a very wonderful job.
Did you have input on that? Did you get to give opinions?
I had a chance to put my 2 cents in, yeah.
Whether they listened to you or not, yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty good about that. I formed some wonderful friendships with the new writers, and they're talented guys. Stiles and Drew, their names are, and they're both talented Englishmen. And we got along famously. I thought it was a wonderful job, and it's a team effort because there's a new book. The actual play is transformed and changed quite a bit, and yet the form is the same as the film. I think Walt would be proud of this property. I think Walt Disney, who really was the mastermind behind the Mary Poppins film, would have been very pleased with how it turned out on stage.
You got to tell us about the writing of Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. None of us can understand how did you come up with that word?
Well, would you believe we did it because we did it backwards? We did it docious ali expiisticfragicalirupus. Would you believe that?
No.
Okay. Well, you're pretty smart. Actually, no. We actually came up with the idea of a double talk word because Mary Poppins took the children, as you remember in the movie. They jumped into a sidewalk picture, and they had an adventure in this wonderful, wonderful make-believe world of imagination, and they have the Jolly Holiday. And coming out of the Jolly Holiday, we wanted Mary Poppins to be able to give the children a souvenir to take out of this magical place. But you can't take a tangible thing like a seashell or a leaf from a tree or something, because there was all the imagination that they had. So we said, well, why don't we give them one of those crazy double talk words that we used to make up when we were kids in camp. When we were kids, Bob and I used to have these contests to see who could make the longest word. And there was the word in the dictionary at that time. The longest word was anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Right, I remember.
If you could say that, you were pretty bright. So we decided, well, if we could, come up with a word that made you sound bright and smart, then the kids could have something special. And we wanted it to be super colossal. I remember we started with super colossal, and anybody could remember super colossal, but colossal is just expected. And we wanted it to sound really obnoxious, and obnoxious didn't sound like too good of a word, so atrocious would sound more English, because it's an English story. So there we had super and atrocious. That's the beginning of it. And then we said, well, what rhymes with atrocious? Let's see now. You could be precocious. That's smart. Oh, good. That's cool. So we have precocious, atrocious. What rhymes with that? Well, docious. Why not? So there we had half the song. And we put in califragilistic just to make it sound double talky.
And what's funny is the way they do it now in the Broadway version, they actually spell it out.
Oh, I know. They sing it out and spell it out. SUPERCALIFRAGILISTICEXPIALIDOCIOUS. And that's actually the way you spell the word.
That's amazing.
And they do it over and over again. And they go faster and faster when they do it. It's quite a show. Quite a show.
Richard Sherman is Academy Award winner, Grammy Award winner, has 24 gold records, and now a kids series that they've got out. It's a CD and DVD series geared toward younger people. The CD's called Sing Along With Me. The DVD's called Learn Along With Me. Tell the listeners about this project.
Well, this is a wonderful experience for me because I've written entertainment for years. I've written music for family entertainment. But this time, we're gearing it toward the younger children. This is a challenge to me because it's a teaching process as well as an entertaining process.
So it's both educational and entertaining.
Absolutely, right. Because it teaches the young children the rudimentary things about pronouncing words. We have a little song called "Sing Along with the little word is how to sing a sound, and so they can speak. They learn how to grade bells of the sounds of different tones, so they can hear higher and lower sounds, and they register them. And the rudimentary ideas about understanding mathematics. We have a bead stair. The stair is the steps of beads, and how 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 all add up together. It's a wonderful thing how to create a little tower, and the largest block and the smallest block, and where they go. And all these things are done with music and with wonderful, talented people. And it's an exciting thing that the concept is really wonderful. And the company is called Tiny Oaks. And, of course, we know from little acorns, great oaks grow.
Yes.
And so these tiny oaks are the little children who are learning. And there's a little character called Amanda Acorn. And she is the one that learns. She's the one that is the focus of these lessons that she learns from the various characters. And it's just a delight. It's a delight to listen to for adults. But, the Learn Along With Me is the first one, and then we're going to have a second DVD with more songs. So it's a really, truly a delight, and I'm very thrilled to be part of it. It really is kind of wonderful.
Now, this is kind of a family project, isn't it?
Well, my son-in-law is one of the creators of it, and the inspiration for it was my little granddaughter, Amanda. So Amanda Acorn is really it's named after our little darling little granddaughter.
That's cute. And then your daughter's involved in music as well, isn't she?
My daughter is a talented young lady. She was a teacher for many, many years. In fact, I meant to say that we have 30 years of advisor, 30 years of public and private school teaching behind these lessons. That's how we have all this stuff. And my daughter was a teacher, and so she also was a composer, and she composed a couple of the melodies in this DVD. So I didn't do all of them, but she did a couple of them.
That's great. So we want educators to call in and tell us how you use music in teaching students. And we'll talk a little bit more with Mr. Sherman about his career in just a minute, but let's get to the phone lines and talk with some of our educators that are calling in. Milton is up next on WHO. Hi, Milton.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Just great. Do you teach or what's...
Yes, I do. My wife and I both. My wife teaches 6th grade and I teach high school.
Great. And how have you seen music used in the educational process?
Well, I'm half a day I teach at an alternative school, and these kids kind of use their own music, to isolate themselves, I think, with headphones, and so they don't argue with each other.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've used some systems that have music work. I teach special education, so I've used some systems that use music for learning memory, and then also my wife teaching 6th grade, she's done some things along those lines.
Great.
So.
Well, you can use some of these things for some of the younger kids that you're involved with, or pass these along to some of the younger educators as well. And Mr. Sherman, this kind of raises, since Milton was talking about his teaching high school, I've noticed that a lot of your songs, like Supercalifragilistic and some of those things, It's a Small World, they've turned into more modern versions. When Disney releases like a new album called Disney Mania, they have young rock people take your songs from 40 years ago and turn it in kind of a hip version. What's your impression of those?
Well, I think it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to be able to transform a piece of music that's written for one use into numerous uses. And I've kind of been fascinated by it. I can't say I'm in love with every time somebody does a different version, but some of them really are quite wonderful, and I do love them. And I've heard jazz versions, for example, of songs that you barely recognize the tune, but there's something about the way it was created is in there. But it's I think it's flattering in a way to think that they use my material in different ways today.
And we found out already from Mr. Sherman that Amanda Acorn is named after your granddaughter. Is that right?
That's right, little Amanda.
Now, I have to ask you, there's the Grumble brothers in this, too. Is that named after the Sherman brothers?
No, that's a figment of the imagination of the creators.
Okay.
But you know what they are? The Grumble brothers are termites, but they're very nice termites.
Yes.
They don't eat wood.
They're cute. Yeah.
Well, hardly ever. They're vegetarians.
And Camilla is next on WHO. Hi, Camilla.
Hi.
How do you use music in educating kids?
there's an item that I've used for a long time. I have do daycare in my home, have for 30 years. And for very young children to learn their phone number, you can use Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. You just say the number 9322674, 9322674.
Oh, that's cute.
They learn it very early because everybody knows Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And it's very, very helpful for very young children.
Well, you'll love this. You'll love the DVD and CD. It's just great. It's very similar to that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Sherman, this is what you're talking about, right? Actually using music to help kids learn.
Well, it's a wonderful tool. To me, it was a great challenge to be able to give little gentle lessons, but very important lessons with music, because that's one of the wonderful things that happens in the mind. The music sticks with you, and then all the detail, which is the lyric, the words, or the numbers in your case, are easier to recall because the tune triggers the word,
right.
And that's what it's all about, really.
Now, what I like about this, I don't mean to call it old-fashioned, but when you hear the songs on Sing Along With Me or watch the video Learn Along With Me, you're really going back to the way music used to be used for kids, which was educationally. Today, so much of the kids' music is just fluff. Is that kind of your feeling as well?
Well, yeah, I don't want to say all of it because there's some very good stuff coming out too, but a lot of it is just repetition of if somebody did one thing, they're going to do exactly the same thing. They're cloning material that you've heard before, and I wonder half the time where the tune is, where's the melody.
Yeah.
And I'm more traditional. I don't want to call it old-fashioned. It's more of a traditional writing.
Right, traditional. That's a good way to put it.
It's the way, in a sense, the greats wrote. I mean, when Cole Porter wrote a tune, you could sing it. And when Irving Berlin wrote a tune, you could sing it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the kind of music I like
to
listen to myself, and therefore that's the kind of stuff I write.
Richard Sherman, the writer of Mary Poppins, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Also, he wrote It's a Small World, some songs for the Jungle Book movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the Charlotte's Web animated movie from years ago, 9 Oscar nominations, 2 Academy Awards, 3 Grammy Awards, 24 gold records, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you. It's a great joy to be with you, too.